Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. No, we are not able to hear you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Okay, we'll start. Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padkamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Vitamcha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Pashyat Deshatarane जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण. So today attendance is very less. So welcome all the devotees after long journey of Kartik Yatra, Kartik month. And we expect and hope all the devotees that they are attentively hearing classes now. So regarding last unit open book, so I had given some help, but that is belonging to previous handbook. So this handbook, I had told that within 2 days, but I was busy actually. Today I will see in the evening I may send. Okay. So this chapter this unit shloka we have not made till now. That also we will send. I will send shloka, and the devotees then they have to submit open book by end of next week. Next week, yes. I was also thinking that this demigod worship, which I have to make already, I have made one comparison, which earlier I had given one picture form like demigod worship. You might remember, some of you might remember. I have given already. What are the difference between the Krishna's devotees and demigod devotees? Or demigod worshippers? What are the difference between both of them? That can also be used. Okay. So now we are starting our third unit of Bhagavad Gita, which is a Jnana section. Karma section, first to sixth chapter. Bhakti section, 7 to 12, and then 13 to 18 is Jnana section. So Krishna never gives any section without bhakti. Okay. So here he will also give bhakti. So Jnana mixed with bhakti. Jnana mixed with bhakti. And in the first sixth chapter, Jnana mixed with bhakti means what? That a person knows that my goal is to attain Krishna, but he has tendency of jnana. He want to search Krishna through jnana. And if a person has a karma tendency, he want to search for Krishna through karma. And if person is free from jnana and karma, and he only want to search Krishna through bhakti, that is buddhi yoga, pure bhakti. You will find even in the Srimad Bhagavatam section also many places, like when Kapil Muni, who is a son of Devahuti, the Lord himself, when he is explaining the Sankhya Yoga, so Sankhya Yoga is again, he was explaining Gyan mixed with the Bhakti. He was explaining. Even if you find when four Kumaras come and they meet with Prithu Maharaj, there also you will find Gyan Mishra or Yoga Mishra Bhakti. So if Bhakti has to be pure, then why all such sections has to be mentioned? Bhakti is pure only, but the practitioner has certain tendency, and then he has to practice bhakti from his level of existence. So he needs certain solution. We cannot say that you totally come out of your conditioning, then only you can practice bhakti. No. So bhakti can engage all kind of our tendencies. So somebody has jnana tendency, still he can practice bhakti. Surely that bhakti will not be kevala bhakti, that will be mixed bhakti. But gradually he can get free from this mixture. That is why the whole concept of Daivi Varnashram is there. Daivi Varnashram means people having karma tendency, jnana tendencies, and they have to come to the Suddha Bhakti stage. So they can continue doing their bhakti with certain mixture and then keep hearing from pure devotees the pure katha, the Kevala Bhakti's tattva, and then gradually when they will develop the mat Shraddha Jat Kathado, when the devotee develops the complete Shraddha in chanting and hearing, he develops complete Shraddha. That just by doing chanting and hearing and doing devotional service, my all activities, all responsibilities, and all kind of whatever plans I have, everything will be satisfied by doing just bhakti. So when he develops complete Shraddha, then he gives faith, he gives away his faith on karma and jnana. But initially, people require, I don't say that everybody requires, but majority people require a sustainable system to grow from their stage to Shuddha Bhakti. That was Daivi Varnashrama. Okay. So now Krishna, why this chapter, after explaining Bhakti, this chapter has to come? So because you will find in this chapter also, even if you find in Prabhupada lectures. So can we say that what Prabhupada is explaining totally Shuddha Bhakti in his classes? When Prabhupada explains about we are not this body, we are soul. So the whole consciousness goes to the soul. Okay, I am soul, I am soul, I am soul. So when we chant the holy name and we think I am a soul, I am not this body, I am not this body. But unless we think I am not, I am Krishna's servant, unless we directly connect to the bhakti, then again it is not a pure bhakti. It is again mixed with something, jnana. But then why Prabhupada explains? Because it is required. It is required. To understand whatever way that I have to chant. Oh, so people say that today I'm going to die. So with this thought process, we can chant. So now the whole concept is what? I'm going to die, I'm going to die, I'm going to die. So focus more on emergency, creating emergency. It is not, again, you cannot say it's a pure bhakti. No, it's not a pure bhakti. We are trying to chant the holy name, remember the Lord with certain impetus. And sadhana bhakti also is defined. Yena kena prakarena mana Krishna niveshayet. Any way you just fix your mind. Any way on Krishna. Like Parikshit Maharaj, he was about to die. So that was the impetus for him to give up everything and sit for hearing Bhagavatam. Yes. So then Parikshit Maharaj impetus was that. And if he had just kept that impetus only, I have to die, I have to just hear immediately, I have to hear, otherwise I will die, I will die. So then again, that is not a pure bhakti. That is not a pure bhakti. Pure bhakti means one has to become attracted towards the qualities of Krishna, towards his pastimes. And nothing else should be impetus. Only Krishna, only bhakti becomes the impetus for continuing further bhakti. But still sadhana bhakti says that ये न केन प्रकारेण किसी भी तरीके से आप कृष्ण में मन लगाओ ये न केन प्रकारेण mana Krishna nivesayet. So now when sometimes the devotees, devotional service is a simple process, but the heart should be simple. Otherwise, it becomes difficult, because what is simpler process? I wanted to just chant, wanted to just sing about the Lord, wanted to just associate with the devotees, hear about the Lord, discuss about the Lord. It's not a very rocket science. It's not a very difficult thing to do. But for doing simple thing, one requires very deep, simple faith. And if it is not there, then it takes our mind start thinking such a simple thing, how it can help me in attaining big things or in doing my day-to-day activities. Such a simple thing, how? And we do not see. And bhakti itself is it's not a material activity, and its goal is also not material. So we find many times intangible result also. There's no tangible result. Uh, So then how? Then I have to worry about other things also. Yes. So therefore, we have read in previous chapter Paranishtita Bhakta, Sanishtita, Paranishtha, and Nirapeksha. Paranishtha Bhakta means he will do bhakti and he will do his regular varnashram duties also. But his doing varnashram duty is to just set an example. It is not that he has faith in varnashram duties. No, he's just doing to just show that all the world that how a devotee can do both the activities, the worldly duties and his devotional duties. But he's doing worldly duty just to set an example. That is called Paranishtita Bhakta. Sanishtita Bhakta means he is doing worldly duties. He has more interest in worldly duties and is also interested in bhakti. But his bhakti is lower than worldly duties. He has more faith. So therefore, Sanishtita Bhakta may go to Swargalok also by doing certain kind of little bhakti. So he has more faith in Varnashrama. So we are not talking about Sanishtita Bhakta. Our process is Paranishtita and Nirapeksha. Nirapeksha means he will not do anything. Madhven Puri. He will not do anything. Nirapeksha. No apeksha. कुछ नहीं चाहिए इस संसार से. कुछ नहीं. Just everything fully. So to the extent we discussed in 12th chapter, to the extent person is nirapeksha, to that much extent he will show such and kind of qualities, like he is considering everyone as a equality level, because he has no relationship. He can consider with everyone equal. He does not ask anyone but to give some favor. But Paranishita Bhakta, like Prabhupada, he has to ask favor from his disciple. Please help me to spread the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Please help me to open a temple. Please help me to distribute prasadam. The Prabhupada was dependent upon his disciple. He was dependent. So he will also expect his disciple to be responsible. If they are not responsible, he will chastise. But Nirapeksha Bhakta, he has nothing to do. He has nothing to relate with anything. So you will find this thing. So therefore, Krishna is mentioning those who are doing bhakti in 7 to 12 chapter, they have to be also very much cautious in this world. This world is not a simple place. Like a simple devotee, when he hears from a spiritual master that Krishna says, Sardharman Parityajya Mahamekam Sharanam Brajam, Aham Tam Sarva Pape Mokshami Ma Suchah. So if I just surrender to Krishna, everything will follow. And then he goes into the world for distributing books. Now marathon month is coming. And then he prays to Prabhupada, he prays to Krishna, and then he goes ahead. And then he finds many people are opposing him. He is not finding his way to distribute books. Then he starts thinking, what is the problem? I am doing the most sublime activity for the most highest purpose to please Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to spread his mission. And still things are not going ahead. What is happening? And I am surrendering also. Krishna, you are the doer, I am instrument. Still things are not happening. Yes. We should understand this world is not simple. Srila Prabhupada did not create ISKCON society with some magic. He has to personally endeavor. Not only count only those 11, 12 years where he was successful. Count his whole life. the time when he met his spiritual master. You will find that the time was not easy for him. His shelter giving Matha, Gaudiya Math also was fighting, hmm, to capture the post, to capture positions. Yeah. And later, Srila Prabhupada also felt that this Western country to preach is very difficult. They are in modern passion and ignorance. And so many challenges Prabhupada has to face. So even we can see from Krishna's when Mahabharata Yuddha was there, so Arjuna had to cry tears in the war field. He was a devotee. And then Krishna has to convince him that Arjuna, I know this is a very toughest situation for you, but you have to kill your people. And killing will also be not easy. There is a Bhishma, there is a Drona. So then Krishna has to make plan for him to win. It means in this world also, we also have to consider the practical situations. Even though bhakti is the topmost thing and nothing is in front of bhakti, means in comparison to bhakti, but this world is such that it follows its own course. अपने आप चलता है ये संसार भी. मतलब जो ढीठ लोग हैं वो ढीठ ही रहेंगे, जो अच्छे लोग हैं अच्छे रहेंगे. आप ढीठ लोगों को जाके भक्ति सिखाएंगे तो वो लोग आप उसको नकार देंगे, और उसमें उसमें कुछ होने नहीं वाला है. थोड़ा बहुत चेंज आएगा तो आगे जाके कभी फ्यूचर में कोई भक्त बनेगा तो बनेगा. बट व्हेन इट कम्स टू अस, व्हेन वी आर डीलिंग विद सच पीपल, they may not become devotee immediately. So world follows its course. So what is the Krishna's help in such activities when we are praying, we are surrendering to Krishna? That we have to understand the nature of this world. This world is a place where people have come living entity with their independent plan for enjoyment. And Krishna does not want to interfere. Even though Krishna is the most powerful God, he can interfere, he can convert, but he will not do. So we should understand wherever we get success, Krishna's mercy is there, and person got changed. And wherever we don't get success, we should understand again, Krishna is allowing this person to continue his rebellious nature and other things. So then that time we should understand that bhakti is not simply uh, having faith and then everything will happen. No, bhakti is a process of worshipping Krishna, having faith in Krishna, and also having faith that what Krishna desires, that will also happen. If Krishna desired this person not to change, he will not change. Krishna desired not to happen something, it will not happen. And we should accept that. So like that. So this is a jnana portion. The jnana is important. To, when you live in this world, there is a knowledge is important. The knowledge of permanent, knowledge of temporary. Knowledge of Prakriti, knowledge of Purusha. So this 13 to 18 chapter not only talks about knowledge, but knowledge mixed with bhakti. Ultimately, Krishna will hidingly, indirectly, he will show that his bhakti is the supreme, and that is his, you can say, this is how Krishna is preaching in this Bhagavad Gita. He's always teaching this thing only, that how bhakti is supreme. Kevala bhakti is supreme. Even in the section of last 6th chapter, Kevala Bhakti was given many times, but even in the Karma section also, there also Krishna says that Yogi Nam api sarvesham madgatena antara saddhavam bhajate yoma. There also he says that the yogi who is always thinking about me is the topmost yogi. The first 6 chapters. And other places also he says that Isita Pragasya Ka Bhasa. So there also he mentions that how somebody who has controlled all his senses and fixed his mind, mat paraha, tani sarvani samyamya, yukta asit mat paraha, vasehi asindriyani tasya pragya pratisthita. One who has fixed his mind, his consciousness in me and controlled his senses, his intelligence is always fixed up. Such kind of bhakta is mat para bhakta, pure devotee bhakta, like that. Mat para, mat parayana, who is dedicated to me. Krishna, this word many times come. This mad, like Manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. There comes and mad parayana. These words comes many times. मेरे को surrender करो, मेरे को याद करो. So Krishna is personally teaching Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. Bhagavad Gita is not for Arjuna; it's for us only. But Arjuna is becoming the medium, and Krishna is saying who can understand this Bhagavad Gita. Because Arjuna is non-envious, so when we are hearing Bhagavad Gita, we should not be envious, and so we can take the message to our heart, and then this message will help us. Yad gatva mokshase asubhat. We will become free from all the asubha. So in this sixth chapter, 13 to 18, Krishna speaks detailed knowledge of body, jiva, paramatma and prakriti. Okay? Okay. So we'll continue from our first sloka. So devotees can open their videos if they are present and if there is no emergency. They said. Arjuna vacha prakritim purusam chaiva kshetram kshetragem eva cha etad ichhami jnanam geyam cha keshava. Shri Bhagavan uvacha idam sariram kaunteya kshetram ityam abhidhiyate etadyo vetti tam prahuः kshetragya iti tadvidah. Anish Prabhu, can you read?
Yes, please. Arjuna said, "O my dear Krishna, I wish to know about Prakriti, nature, Purusha, the enjoyer, and the field and the knower of the field, and of knowledge and the object of knowledge." The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "This body, O son of Kunti, is called the field, and one who knows this body is called the knower of the field."
Ah. So Arjuna is asking question in 13th chapter. Prakritim, what is Prakriti? What is the Purusha? What is the Purusha and what is Prakriti? Then what is Kshetram? What is Kshetragyam? Kshetra क्या है? Kshetragyam means who is knower of Kshetra. एतद वेदितुम इच्छामि ज्ञानम गेयम च केशव. I want to know this, and even I also want to know what Jnanam and Geyam. What is knowledge and what is the object of knowledge? Means what is to be known through knowledge. So 6 items are asked. What? What is Prakriti? What is Purusha? What is Kshetram? What is Kshetragya? What is Jnanam? What is Geyam? O Keshava, kindly let us know. Now, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Idam Sariram Kaunteya Kshetragyam Itya Abhidhiyate. So Krishna is saying कि Arjuna, this sarira, this body is called Kshetragya. Kshetra, not Kshetragya. It's a Kshetra. It's a Kshetram. Kshetram iti abhidhiyate. This body is known as a Kshetra. Etadyo veti tam prahu Kshetragya iti tadvidah. And what is a Kshetragya? One who knows this. One who knows this body separate from oneself is known as Kshetragya. Okay? So there is a qualification for Kshetragya to become Kshetragya. What is the Kshetragya? One who has to know that body is separate from himself. That is called Kshetragya. One who just only knows that I have this body, I have a strong body, I have beautiful body, I have a rich body, I have a disease-free body, healthy body. That is not Kshetragya. One who knows that I am separate from this body and body is something and I am something. That is called Kshetragya. Okay, so this is very important. That was the contribution of Srila Prabhupada. Beginning of the like, Deino Asmin Yathade. Dehino asmin yatha dehe. In this deha, there is a dehi, the owner or possessor of this body. The owner or possessor of this body, dehi, is residing in this deha. So that shloka also discriminates between two objects. One object is possessor and owner, other is body. So the possessor and owner is owning the body or possessing the body. The both are different. Like I am living in the room. Room is different and I am different. I am possessing the room. I am living inside the room. I am different. When I know this, that I am different from my room, then I am called Kshetragya. I am called Kshetragya. But when I do not know the difference only, when I think I am this room, then I am not knowing Kshetra. I am not able to differentiate. Then I am not Kshetragya. I myself understand that I am Kshetra. I am Kshetra. I am this body. And according to scripture, one who understands that he is a body, he is not better than an animal. Because one who understands himself as a body, which is the made up of kapha pitta vata, he is considered to be यस्यात्म बुद्धि कुनुपे त्रिधातु के कुनुपे त्रिधातु के त्रिधातु थ्री धातु से बना है शरीर कौन सा कफ पित्तवात so one who understands that I am this bag of bones bag of muscles blood stool urine all these bags is I am that this body so then this person one who considers this himself to be this bag is called Sareva Gokharaha. He is considered like animal. So animal has a four kind of basic activities: eating, sleeping, mating, defending. खाओ पियो मजा करो खाओ पियो सो then have a reproduction then defense means career creating a career so that financial defense financial security or homely security creating home making home. So these activities are considered to be animalistic actually, which every animal will do for his people or for himself. Why he is doing? Because he is not able to understand himself separate from body. So whatever body needs, he thinks that is his own need. So Kshetragya has become Kshetra. And that is why that is animalistic. So the whole attempt to look for eating, sleeping, mating, defending is animalistic actually. And that is why the whole education in modern times is animalistic. Howsoever one may be educated to a greater degree of knowledge in modern times, he will remain animal only because he has no other goal than the body. He considers himself as a body. Like somebody feels happy because his body is healthy. So why is feeling healthy, feeling happy because he's feeling happy because he's thinking he's a body. His happiness should be in the soul, and then he can also feel the happiness of body. If the both happiness is felt, then it is understood that okay, he's understanding himself different from the body. But he's feeling healthy. Okay, I have no disease, I have no problem, so I am healthy. Somebody thinks that I'm beautiful. Huh? So why he's too much proud or feeling beautiful? Because he's thinking I'm a body. And in the beauty of body or in the health of a body or in the opulence of the body, he's also happy. So that means that is a bodily consciousness actually. And this is very deep rooted. Srila Prabhupada used to say that Kshetra, like some Kshetra means the field. Somebody has an agriculture field. If he grows some crops and he then sells the crops, then he can become a rich man because he's selling the crops, he will earn money. And so that is material profit. he can utilize the same field for spiritual advancement. So for material advancement, he can utilize, and for spiritual advancement. So the kshetra, when kshetragya knows that this is my kshetra, I can use it for both purpose, material advancement, spiritual advancement. But he has to know first that I am a kshetragya and the kshetra is different, and I myself is a spiritual and the kshetra is a material. So I can use this kshetra for material destiny or for spiritual destiny. Material destiny means identity. I am a this person. I'm a American. I'm a Brahman. I'm a man. I'm a woman. I'm a fat. I'm a thin. I'm a beautiful. I'm this that. This is material thing. The more one wants to become refined in this thing is called material destiny. And the spiritual destiny means it begins with Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman. I am Krishna's servant. I am a Das. Hmm. So this is the beginning actually. And then to identify with certain kind of attachment to Krishna, attachment to spiritual master. So that is spiritual destiny actually. So the same kshetra can be utilized for progressing in material life, and same kshetra can be utilized for progressing in spiritual life. That is dependent upon the consciousness of the kshetragya. That is important. So we understood here. So Krishna is answering half part here. So Arjuna was inquisitive about the Prakriti and Purusha, the Kshetra, the field, the Kshetragya is knower, knowledge and the object of the knowledge. When he inquired all about this, Krishna said, this body is called field, and that one who knows this body is called knower of the field. This body is a field of activity for the conditioned soul. The conditioned soul is entrapped in material existence and he attempts to lord it over material nature. And so, according to his capacity to dominate material nature, he gets the field of activity. So, according to his capacity, he gets the field of activity. Like that. The field of activity is the body. And what is the body? Body is made up of senses. The conditioned soul wants to enjoy sense gratification. And according to his capacity to enjoy sense gratification, he is offered a body or field of activity. Therefore, the body is called Kshetra, the field of activity for the conditioned soul. Now, the person who should not identify himself with the body is called Kshetragya, the knower of the field. It is not very difficult to understand the difference between field and its knower, the body, the knower of the body. Any person can consider from childhood that from childhood to old age, he undergoes so many changes of body, yet is still the one person remaining. Thus, there is a difference between the knower and the field of activities, the actual field of activities. A living conditioned soul can thus understand that it is different from the body. It is described in the beginning, Dehino Asmin. So like that. So body is changing, Kshetra is changing, but Kshetragya is the same person. The owner is distinctly Kshetragya. Sometimes we think I'm happy, I'm man, I'm woman, I'm dog, I'm cat. These are all bodily designation of the knower. But the knower is different from the body. Although we may use many articles, our clothes, etc., we know that we are different from the things used. Similarly, we also understand by little contemplation that we are different from the body, or you, or I, or you, or anyone else who owns the body is called Kshetragya, the knower of the field of the activities, and the body is called Kshetragya, the field of activity itself. See, therefore, one has to become sober in life actually. The Kshetragya will always be changing. And the whole, the Gita, before bringing one to the pure devotional stage, Gita wants to say that what is the Brahman platform? Na sochati, na kamshati. One is not lamenting and hoping for something. So, but that platform, before that platform, one has to identify that one is separate from this body. Then one goes to the Brahman platform. Brahman platform means he's fixed up in this thinking process, or he is fixed up in his identity that I am not this body. I am Brahman. I am a separate element only. And this body is a separate element. And I am separate element. The happiness derived from body is separate from my own happiness. So surely that is the advanced stage. And but Prabhupada is mentioning here that this kshetra has to be always understood separate. चाहे कोई कितना भी छोटा या बड़ा भक्त हो, he has to understand that he is not this body. He has to understand he is not this body. And so he has to cut down the attachment to body slowly, slowly. He should not relish the attachment to body. He should not relish actually. And to the extent one is not able to do that, then he's not advancing actually. He has to advance in this understanding. And unless we advance, how can we progress in bhakti? This is very, very important because the world is, material world is very troublesome place. All the time something is happening in our mind, something is happening, and we have to always be focused on our identity as a Atma, identity as a servant of Krishna all the time. So that has, this knowledge has to be deep down in the consciousness actually. रहना चाहिए. In modern times, the bodily things are too much in front. Atma has gone in back. That is why in previous time people used to live simple. The reason was this, because they understood I am Atma. My identity is separate. इस शरीर को पहले लोग एक बैग की तरह भी समझते थे. बैग है, कुछ भी डाल दो इसके अंदर, मतलब हेल्दी रहना चाहिए, बॉडी हेल्दी रहना चाहिए. बॉडी दिखाते नहीं थे ज्यादा, not showing the body. Nowadays body showing has become too rampant. Body showing, इंडिया में नहीं दिखाते तो बाहर जाते हैं, बाहर जाके बॉडी दिखाते हैं फिर. Why again body showing? Because the person does not understand that he is not the body, and the beauty of the body, whatever that person has, it is again temporary, and that should not be done. Why a person is showing it like a small child, when he goes to the friend and then shows, देखो मेरा कपड़ा कितना अच्छा है, कितना अच्छा सुंदर है ना. उसी तरीके से बड़े लोग अपना शरीर दिखा रहे हैं, उनको समझ नहीं आ रहा वो भी एक कपड़ा है. To the extent one is absorbed, engrossed, abnivation in the bodily concept, to that much extent he is bewildered in his life, bewildered totally. And not only that, one becomes bewildered by anartha, lust, anger, greed, all, because this bodily attachment brings all such things together. Aham mameti. Like that. Kshetragya. In Krishna consciousness, there is one very important thing that anybody who is doing Krishna consciousness, he surely has understanding, because body in Kali Yuga is giving a lot of problems, or a lot of expectations body has in modern times. Somebody needs hot water only for bathing. Somebody cannot live in this way. Somebody cannot live in that way. Somebody is very conscious about, is very particular about sleep. Nobody should disturb the sleep. Somebody is particular about eating habits. In Kali Yuga, very much particular about body. People have become very much particular. So the body itself is giving a lot of trouble. Somebody is particular about living a certain kind of lifestyle. Below that, he cannot live only. So again, that much he has to fulfill. So many conditionings one has because of body. First 6 chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the knower of the body, the living entity, and the position by which he can understand the Supreme Lord are described. In the middle 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the Supreme Personality and the relationship between individual soul and the super soul is in regard to devotion service are described. So what is the first 6 chapters? See, this kind of Prabhupada has written, even there also in 7th chapter beginning also is written. So again, in relation to the new sections, Acharyas, they mention some more details. So they may not mention everything at one place. They will explain different thing at different places. So here Prabhupada is saying, in the first 6 chapter, the position by which he can understand Supreme Lord are described. Yes, the knower of the body, the living entity, and the position by which he can understand the Lord are described. So in the first chapter, we know that what is described, mainly what is described. First, Krishna described about the Atma, and then later he describes about the work. The work should be freed from enjoying mentality. Result should be utilized, or it should be offered to Lord. That is Karma Yoga. Result should be offered. One should become free from all kind of obstructions which comes in the path of our duty. In terms of credits also. One gets a credit, one gets laziness, become free from that. One should anyway do one's duty. And one should offer the result to the Lord. That is the whole focus for the first 6 chapters. So how one can understand the Lord and how one can understand oneself, that is mentioned in the first 6 chapters. The middle 6 chapter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the relationship between individual soul and the super soul in regard to devotional service are described, correct? How we are related to the Lord in devotional service is described. That is middle 6. The superior position of Supreme Personality of Godhead and the subordinate position of individual soul are definitely defined in these chapters. Yes. So Supreme Lord is superior and we are subordinate. That also described. Krishna says we are energy of him. Aparayamitastoyannam buddhi में प्रकृतिम पराम जीव भूतो महाबाहो यदम धार्यते जगत भूमि रापो नलो वायु. So Ashtadha, Prakriti mein Ashtadha. So we are also Prakriti, but we are Para Prakriti. And material nature is Apara Prakriti. So but both Prakritis are under Krishna. So he is a owner, or you can say possessor of energy. He is a master of energy. And energies are under his control, subordinate to him. So we are conscious Prakriti and material nature is non-conscious. Or dead, you can say, without consciousness. So that Prakriti and we both are subordinate to Krishna. And there is third Prakriti, which is also conscious and which is very much integrated with Krishna, that is internal potency, that is always with Krishna. We are not always with Krishna. We are separated part and parcel. We are separated part and parcel. We are living here or we are living in spiritual, but still we are separated. But internal energy is always with Krishna, always. And external energy is, again, it is also separated, but it is dead. It is dead. It cannot work without Krishna. But internal potency, it can work because internal potency is spiritual. And the material potency is non-spiritual. But again, internal potency is also dependent upon Krishna's desire. Nothing is independent. Nothing is independent. Everything is dependent on the Lord. Even in the spiritual world, the internal potency, in material, external potency, and in between, we marginal potency. All are dependent on the supreme will. By his order only things move. Okay, the superior position of that is the living entities are subordinate under all circumstances, but in their forgetfulness they are suffering. When enlightened by pious activities, they approach the Supreme Lord in different capacity. Again, Chaturvida bhajante mam jana sukirtano Arjuna arto artarte jigyasu jnani cha bhartar sabha. 4 kind of people who surrender to Krishna. So when people get enlightened little bit, they try to approach God. That is mentioned. That is why those people who do not take to bhakti, even if somebody convinces them about Bhagavad Gita or spiritual life, why? Because they are sinful. They are sinful, that's why they are not able to take a bhakti. Here mentioned, those enlightened by pious activities. And some people just we explain them some ऐसा नहीं कि कुछ भक्ति किसी को देने के लिए पीएचडी नहीं कराना पड़ता किसी को. वो भक्ति अपने आप पिकअप करता है. जैसे उसके पास अब थोड़े कुछ वर्ड्स बोलो, उसको अच्छा लगने लगता है, वो पिकअप करता है कि नहीं? ये नहीं कि आपको पहले उसको पहला क्लास, दूसरा क्लास, तीसरा क्लास, चौथा क्लास ऐसे करके 12 साल उसे पढ़ाते रहोगे तब जाके भक्ति लेना. People may take their time, but it does not mean that they have to become PhD in bhakti, then only they come to bhakti. No. Basically, their pious credit is increasing, that's why they are coming to bhakti. It may not relate with the knowledge. ये नॉलेज के साथ रिलेट नहीं हो रहा है कि एकदम भक्ति में पीएचडी इसलिए भक्ति में आ गया, नहीं ऐसा नहीं है। वो भक्ति में कुछ भी थोड़ा ही बोले जाने का, लेकिन उसका अभी पायटी अभी इतना हो चुका है कि भक्ति ले लेगा। तो कई लोग इतने पाप कर रहे हैं, सो मच सिंफुल एक्टिविटी दे आर डूइंग, इफ यू टेक भक्ति इन फ्रंट ऑफ देम, देयर इज नो पायस क्रेडिट ओनली इन देम, दे विल नॉट कम, नहीं आएंगे वो। और सबसे बड़े बात तो ये, सबसे you can say unfortunate situation कि these people are in greater number and they are on higher post position, so their pride has taken away their knowledge also to receive such mercy. माया अपहृत ज्ञानम, बड़ा बड़ा पोस्ट पे बैठा है, बड़ा बड़ा नॉलेज पढ़ाई किया है उसने, पीएचडी क्या क्या नहीं किया होगा, पैसा भी बहुत बहुत कमा रहा है, लेकिन उसके पास गीता लेके जाओ, कुछ ज्ञान की बात करो तो बिल्कुल नहीं। क्यों? माया अपहृत ज्ञानम, उसने इतने पाप किए हैं कि माया ने उसका दिमाग, उसका नॉलेज चुरा लिया है। उसका नॉलेज मतलब उसको इतना भी सेंस नहीं है कि यू शुड रिसीव सच मर्सी कमिंग फ्रॉम डिवोटीज, ही विल नॉट रिसीव। दिस इज अनफॉर्चुनेट सिचुएशन इन कलयुगा। कलयुगा में जो अधर्मी है उसके पास बहुत पैसा है, बहुत बड़ा पोस्ट है, और जो धार्मिक लोग हैं वो सिंपल लोग हैं, और इन अधर्मी लोगों को ज्यादा रिस्पेक्ट मिलता है, और इनके पास बहुत बड़ा बड़ा चीज। दैट इज वाई ना, दैट इज वाई द वर्ल्ड कंडीशन इज इन doldrum, or the world condition is totally in unfortunate situation. Why? Because of this reason. Those who are on top post, they should be responsible, they should be guiding the world, but they are sinful people. They have just got this post by their material charisma, material piety, which is nothing, flickering. एक जन्म का पुण्य कमा के आया है, पैसा कमा रहा है, अगले जन्म में कुत्ता बिल्ली बन जाएगा, काम खत्म। इन लोगों को समझ में नहीं आता है, बट ये सुनने को भी रेडी नहीं रहते। बड़े बड़े लोग, बड़े बड़े लोग जनरली, okay, Dwapar Yug we may not say, but even this knowledge was there always, that even though the Duryodhan, such kind of people was there, Duryodhan, Dhritarashtra, Sakuni, and all the kind of Kamsa, but people knew that these people are powerful because of their tapasya and sinful activities, and they have done, and they've got some power. But people knew that whom they should respect. That time also the civilization was godly, but in Kali Yuga it's totally different actually. Kali Yuga में धर्म ही नहीं पता है, किसको किसको रेस्पेक्ट दिया जाए, किसका सुना जाए, कुछ पता नहीं है कली युग में, hodgepodge. That is also described. Now, starting from 13th chapter, how the living entity comes in contact with material nature and how it is delivered by the Supreme Lord through different methods of fruitive activities, cultivation of knowledge, and discharge of bhakti are explained. Okay. Although the living entity is completely different from the material body, he somehow becomes related, and that is also explained. See, what are things are explained? How living entity comes into contact with material nature. That is explained in 13 chapters. स्टार्टिंग विद 13 चैप्टर, कैसे जीवात्मा इस संसार में बध जाता है, आगे कैसे उसको निकाला जाता है, हाउ इज डिलीवर्ड बाय द सुप्रीम लॉर्ड थ्रू डिफरेंट मेथड ऑफ फ्रूटिव एक्टिविटी, मीन्स कर्म कांड, देन ज्ञान कांड, कल्टिवेशन ऑफ नॉलेज मीन्स ज्ञान कांड, देन भक्ति कांड मीन्स डिस्चार्ज और भक्ति। सो कर्म, ज्ञान, भक्ति के द्वारा लिविंग एंटिटी को कैसे संसार से निकाला जाता है, कर्म के रिजल्ट को ऑफर करके कर्म के रिजल्ट से आसक्ति काटी जाती है, ज्ञान के द्वारा वो अपने पोजीशन को समझता है, ही अंडरस्टैंड आई एम नॉट दिस बॉडी, आई एम सोल, एंड भक्ति के द्वारा ही अंडरस्टैंड दैट आई एम कनेक्टेड विद द सुप्रीम एंड आई हैव टू सर्व दैट सुप्रीम एंड आई हैव टू गो टू हिम टू लिव अ इटर्नल लाइफ. So like that his whole course of deliverance becomes successful. Now Acharya is writing something here. Let me offer my respect to the Lord, Bhakti, which by its mercy resides within Jnana, and other possesses to a small degree in order to bring about success in those process. In the last 6 chapters of Gita, Jnana mixed with Bhakti is delineated. Within this 6th chapter, Kevala Bhakti is also shown indirectly to be the supreme. In the 13th chapter, the body where the Jiva and Paramatma reside, practice of Jnana, the Jiva and Prakriti are described. Okay? In the middle 6th chapter, it was mentioned that by Kevala Bhakti one attains the Lord, Bhagwan, and the 3 other methods of worship, starting with the worship of oneself, was then described. Liberation arising from Jnana mixed with Bhakti, practiced by the follower of Niskam Karma Yoga, and the process of Jnana were briefly described in the first 6 chapters. So what is the first 6 chapters? It is mentioned by Acharya here that in the middle 6 chapter, sorry, Kevala Bhakti, one attains the Bhagwan, okay? And the 3 methods of worship, starting with the worship of oneself, were then described. Angropasnam, understanding oneself to be the supreme. And then liberation arising from Jnana mixed with Bhakti, practiced by followers of Niskam Karma Yoga. So Niskam Karma Yoga practitioners, they also follow the Jnana mixed Bhakti. The process of Jnana, okay? The third 6th chapter is in the Jnana. Let us go ahead now. क्षेत्रज्ञं चापि मां विद्धि सर्वक्षेत्रेषु भारत क्षेत्रज्ञोर्ज्ञानं यज्ञात् यत्तज्ज्ञानं मतं मम. Yes.
O sign of Bharata, you should understand that I am the knower in all bodies, and to understand this body and its knower is called knowledge. That is my opinion.
So this sloka, Srila Prabhupada quotes it many times, telling that there are 2 knowers in the body. Kshetragya, when Arjuna was asking, Krishna now in this verse is telling Arjuna, Atma is Kshetragya, but I am also there. I am separate from Atma. Kshetragyam cha api mam vidhi. I am also the Kshetragya. Krishna could have stopped in the first verse only and saying there is a Kshetragya and Kshetra. So Kshetragya is Kshetragya. But he's saying, I am also Kshetragya. So he's adding to distinguish between his existence and Jiva's existence. Jiva is separate from God. This is a sloka. There are 2 Kshetragya. In previous verse is mentioned. That's why the word used Kshetragya cha api. You should understand that I am also the knower in all the bodies. मतलब पहले किसी और को नोअर बताया था ना, पहले किसी और को नोअर बताया. He was the knower of Kshetra. He was knowing the Kshetra. And there is another knower also, that is myself. And to understand this body and its knower is called knowledge. That is my opinion. So Krishna is saying, one who knows Atma and this Sarira, both, is called knowledge. While discussing the subject of the body and the knower of the body, the soul and the super soul, we shall find 3 different topics of study: the Lord, the living entity, and the matter. In every field of activities, in every body, there are 2 souls, individual souls and super soul. Super soul is a plenary expansion of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Krishna says, I am also the knower, but I am not the individual knower of the body. I am the super knower. What is the difference between us and God? We might be individual knower of the body. We know ourselves only, our body, that much. We may not know the bodies of others. But Krishna is super knower. Not only he knows something what we know in our body, but he knows more than us in our body, and he also knows all the bodies other than us. So he's a super knower. I am present in every body as Paramatma or the super soul. That's why like Krishna can be dear to everyone. Like somebody lost his purse. Then the traffic police got the purse of someone, and then they called him and asked him to come and then take his purse. So then they saw that in his purse, Krishna's photo was there. So then they asked, why you have put God's picture in your purse? So then he said, कि earlier when I was youth, I put the girlfriend picture in my purse, but unfortunately she did not marry me. So then she broke my heart, and I just took away the picture and threw it. फेंक दिया उस पिक्चर को, क्योंकि इसने मेरे साथ शादी नहीं किया, इसको फेंक दिया मैं. Then later I put the picture of my parents, but unfortunately my father mother died. Then I got married. I got married. Then I put the picture of my wife. Unfortunately, she also died. So then I understood who is not going to die. I should put that picture in my purse. So who is not going to die? God is never going to die. And we Atma also not going to die. So therefore he put the picture of God. He is never going to die. So he's a supernova. He knows everyone. And so therefore God can be like, we may not tell our private things to someone because it's private to oneself. But we can always tell our private thing to God. The reason is because he knows everything of us and he knows everything of everyone. So from God, nothing is private. So therefore, God is the most personal lover or most personal person for everyone. And God is not exploitator. It's not that if God knows the secret of someone, then he will reveal to somebody else. No, God maintains the trust also. He maintains the trust. This is a very, very important thing. Like, just see, if somebody knows the, like, nowadays people are very much fearful that if they're like in institute, if the contacts are known to somebody, then they will sell the contact on some money. So then they are not giving their contacts. Okay. The people are, so God knows all the contexts, everything he knows. So he can exploit any living entity by telling the weakness of living entity to some other. अरे देखो इसके साथ ऐसा है, दूसरे को पता लग गया, तो दूसरा वाला सोचेगा यार मेरा मेरा वीकनेस उसको उसको कैसे पता लग गया, भगवान ने बता दिया, क्योंकि भगवान को सब पता है. Just imagine, in that case one could have become the, all living entity could have become the enemy of God. So why you are telling my weakness to him, to them, all these people? No. So God is a highest trustworthy person. Even though he knows everything, he does not reveal to anyone. He just keeps it with himself. So one can always trust on the Lord. One who studies the subject matter of the field of activity and the knower of field are very minutely in terms of this Bhagavad Gita can attain to knowledge. So how to attain the knowledge? One has to know the three things: the field of activity, which is body, matter, and the knower, which is soul, and also the Lord. Then he should be considered full in knowledge. Again, Jeev Jagat Jagadishwar. The Lord says, I am the knower of the field of activity in every living body, individual body. The individual may be the knower of his own body, but he is not in the knowledge of other bodies. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the present as a super soul in all the bodies, knows everything about all the bodies. He knows all the different bodies of all the various species of life. A citizen may know everything about his patch of land, but the king knows not only his palace, but all the properties possessed by all individual citizens. Similarly, one may be proprietor of the body individually, but the Supreme Lord is the proprietor of all the bodies. That is why when death comes, so sometimes the person thinks, how I'm not wanting to die, then how can somebody make me die? Because we ourselves is not a possessor of body. There is somebody else also possessor of body, and he has decided now I should now quit this body. मेरे को मरना है अभी, निकलना है मेरे को यहाँ से. So when Paramatma decides this body should finish, then we also have to, even unwillingly, we have to come with him out of the body. Because there is another possessor of this body, that is Paramatma. He is also proprietor. And he has decided the date. अभी ये खत्म होने मतलब खत्म होगा, अभी खत्म हो जाएगा. A citizen may know everything about the patch of land, but the king knows not only his palace, but also the properties possessed by individual citizen. Similarly, one may be proprietor of the body individually, but the Lord is the proprietor of all bodies. The king is the original proprietor of the kingdom, and the citizen is the secondary proprietor. Similarly, The Supreme Lord is the supreme proprietor of all the bodies. The body consists of senses. The Supreme Lord is Rishikesh, which means the controller of the senses. He is the original controller of the senses, and just as the king is the original controller of all the activities of the state, citizens are the secondary controller. The Lord says, I am also the knower. This means that he is a super-knower. The individual soul knows only his particular body. In the Vedic literature, it is stated, Kshetragyani hi sarva. Kshetragyani hi sarirani. Bijam chapi subhasubhe. Tani vetti sa yogatma tatah kshetragya uchyate. Anishpu, can you read this thing?
This body is called the Kshetra, and within it dwells the owner of the body and the Supreme Lord, who knows both the body and the owner of the body. Therefore, he is called a knower of all fields. The distinction between the field of activities and the knower of activities and the supreme knower of activities is described as follows. Perfect knowledge of the constitution of the body, the constitution of the individual soul, and the constitution of the super soul is known in terms of Vedic literature as jnana. That is the opinion of Krishna. To understand both the soul and the super soul as one yet distinct is knowledge. One who does not understand the field of activity and the knower of activity is not in perfect knowledge. One has to understand the position of Prakriti, nature, Purusha, the enjoyer of nature, and Ishwara, the knower who dominates or controls nature and the individual soul. One should not confuse the three in their different capacities. One should not confuse the painter, the painting, and the easel. This material world, which is the field of activities, is nature, and the enjoyer of nature is the living entity, and above them both is the supreme controller, the personality of Godhead. In the It is stated in the Vedic language in the Shvetashvetar Upanishad 1.12, Bhukta Bhogyam Preritaram cha matva sarvam proktam trividham brahmanetat. There are three Brahman conceptions. Prakriti is Brahman as the field of activity, and the Jiva, individual soul, is also Brahman and is trying to control material nature. And the controller of both of them is also Brahman, but he is the factual controller.
Okay. So, see, nicely here told here, the three Brahman, the Bhokta, Bhogyam, and Preritaram, cha matva, sarvam proktam, trividham, brahmam, etat. So, see, Bhokta, Bhogyam, and Preritaram. ये तीन तरह के हैं. तो भोक्ता कौन है? भोग्यम कौन है और प्रेरितारम. सो भोक्ता यहाँ पे जीवात्मा को बोला गया है. एंड भोग्य मीन्स जिसको भोगा जाता है, प्रकृति. एंड प्रेरितारम मीन्स हु इज गिविंग हिम द फैसिलिटीज और कंट्रोलिंग बोथ. दैट इज कॉल्ड सुप्रीम पर्सनैलिटी ऑफ गॉडहेड. भोक्ता, भोग्यम एंड प्रेरितारम. ओ सॉरी, उल्टा हो गया. भोक्ता मीन्स सुप्रीम लॉर्ड, bhogyam means the material nature, and preritaram means who is trying to enjoy material nature. Who is trying to enjoy the material nature. That is called living entity. So bhokta, bhogyam, and preritaram all are Brahman. Trividham Brahmam etat. So it appears very simple, but it is not simple. Like when we eat rasgulla, what do we think? I am the enjoyer. Where is the another enjoyer? बट व्हेन वी ईट मोर रसगुल्ला देन पेट में दर्द चालू हो जाता है. अरे दर्द चालू हो गया, ये दर्द कैसे हो गया, गड़बड़ हो गया, गड़बड़ हो गया, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए, नहीं होना चाहिए, मैं क्यों नहीं कंट्रोल कर पा रहा हूँ, अभी नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ. क्योंकि अभी वो किसके कंट्रोल में आ गया? रसगुल्ला प्रकृति ने बनाया है, हमने उसको भोग लिया, एंजॉय कर लिया. अभी ज्यादा पच नहीं पा रहा है, तो अभी सुप्रीम कंट्रोलर के अंदर आ गया कि अब आपको सुप्रीम कंट्रोलर के नियम को फॉलो करना पड़ेगा कि आपने ज्यादा खा लिया, मतलब अब जाना पड़ेगा कहीं और. इसका मतलब क्या है? हम भूल जाते हैं जब हम भोग करते हैं कि देर इज अ कंट्रोल अपन अस एंड देर इज आल्सो कंट्रोल अपन प्रकृति बाय समवन। लाइक आफ्टर 2 रसगुल्ला खाने के बाद तीसरा मिला ही नहीं रसगुल्ला खाने को, तो हमें समझ में आना चाहिए कि इवन प्रकृति पे भी कंट्रोल है किसी का। हमारे पे तो है ही कंट्रोल, प्रकृति पे भी कंट्रोल है। सो दिस अंडरस्टैंडिंग Prabhupada is giving here that a painter painting an easel. So painter is separate, painting is separate, and easel is separate. Yeah. So like canvas, on the canvas somebody is painting. So see the painting and canvas and then the person, all three are separate. You can say. Understanding, na? Painter painting and easel. So this should not be mixed up. And many times it gets mixed up. We remove Supreme Lord in any dealing, and we totally think that I am the enjoyer of Prakriti. So then this creates a problem. So one has to understand there is a Prakriti, it is controlled by Lord, and I am also controlled by Lord, and therefore I have to follow certain rules, regulations. If I want to also dominate Prakriti, then I have to follow certain rules, regulations where I should not get caught. And that is why the whole process of the yoga is to connect one's consciousness with the Supreme so that he should not exploit Prakriti for selfish reason. He should utilize Prakriti for sense gratification, he can utilize, but just to keep his body healthy. And then he should try to connect himself to the service of the Lord. Like that. Okay. In this chapter, it is also explained that out of the two knowers, one is a fallible and other is infallible. One is superior, other is subordinate. One who understands the two knowers of the field to be one and the same contradicts the Supreme Lord, who states here very clearly, I am also the knower of the field of activities. One who misunderstands a rope to be a serpent is not in knowledge. They are different kinds of bodies and they are different kind of owner of the bodies, because each individual soul has its own individual capacity for lording it over material nature. They are different bodies. So different bodies according to different capacity of lording it over. But the Supreme also is present in them as a controller. The word cha is significant for it indicates the total number of bodies. Just see, the body is given according to the capacity one has to enjoy the body. है ना? The capacity one has, capacity means basically he has got that tendency and he has done such a certain karma. Therefore, he will be given that body. Now, the Paramatma is common in all the body. It means the body is not decided according to Paramatma's desire to enjoy, but according to the living entity desire to enjoy, body is decided. Okay? So one has to understand this thing, that one is fallible, other is infallible. Living entity is fallible means he can fall trap to material nature and he can then desire so many things. But the Paramatma is infallible. That he has to also decide, understand. The word cha is significant, for it is significant total number of the bodies. It indicates the total number of bodies. That is the opinion of Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan. Krishna is super soul, present in each and every body apart from the individual soul. And Krishna explicitly says that the real knowledge is to know the super soul, the controller of both the field and the activities, the finite enjoyer. Okay, we'll go ahead. तत्क्षेत्रम यच्च चा तत्क्षेत्रम यच्च यादृक् यद्विकारी यतश्च यत् स च यो यत् प्रभावश्च तत्समासेन मे शृणु.
Now, please hear my brief description of this field of activity and how it is constituted, what its changes are, whence it is produced, who that knower of the field of activities is, and what his influences are.
So Krishna is saying, please hear my brief discussion of the field of activity and how it is constituted, what it changes, and whence it is produced, and who that knower of the field of activity is, what his influences are. So after telling that I am also Kshetragya, so we understood also what is the perfect knowledge? So first in third shloka, Krishna says, not third shloka, second shloka only, Krishna says that one who knows field of activity and the knower is in knowledge. But in the next shloka, he says, even I am the knower of the knowledge, knower of the kshetra. So one who knows me, super soul, or me, one who knows the field and one who knows the knower of the field, jiva, all the three, then he is called knowledgeable. So he has added one more himself also. That is a thing. That is called knowledge. So now, in this verse, whatever Krishna is saying, that yaccha, yaccha, tat kshetram yaccha. What is that kshetra? What is that kshetra means how it is composed? I will tell Arjuna. That is given in 13.6 number of shloka. It is mentioned. What is the kshetra? Then yadrik. Yadrik means the quality of the kshetra, means quality of the body. So he mentions in 13.7. 13.7 he mentions the quality of the body. What is the body? What is the constitution of body? Mentioned in the 13.6. What is the quality of body? Mentioned in the 13.7. Then yad bikari, yad bikari. What are the changes body undergo? That he mentions in 13.7 and 13.20. What are the changes bodies undergo? And then yataha, yataha, yatascha. Yataha means or yatascha. That means, that is the meaning. Yatascha means origin of the body. कहाँ से आया है शरीर, शरीर कैसे बना है, उसकी क्वालिटी क्या है, उसमें क्या क्या चेंजेस होते हैं, कहाँ से आया है, ये सब बताएंगे भगवान. तो origin of body Krishna mentions in 13.6, 21, 22 and 30th shloka. 4 shlokas he mentions from where the body has come. Then swarupa, yad prabhavas, not prabhava. So उसका स्वरूप बता रहे भगवान. यत, ये वाला जो यत है, दिस इज अ यत फॉर स्वरूप, द बॉडी का स्वरूप कैसा दिखता है. सो दैट इज मेंशन इन 13.14 to 18 shlokas. At last, the power of the knower of the body, yat prabhava, उस बॉडी का इंफ्लुएंस क्या है, वो मेंशन किया है 13.14 to 18 में. ठीक है, मतलब आगे के जो श्लोक सारे इसमें भगवान इसी को एक्सप्लेन करने वाले जो यहाँ पे बोला है भगवान ने. ठीक है, तो बॉडी का कंपोजिशन, उसका क्वालिटीज, उसमें क्या क्या चेंजेस आते हैं, कहाँ से बॉडी का जन्म हुआ है, फिर बॉडी का स्वरूप क्या है, बॉडी के इन्फ्लुएंसेस क्या है, प्रभाव क्या है बॉडी के, ये सभी मेंशन है. यस माता जी.
Prabhuji, can you please tell me once again the shlokas for origin of the body?
13.6, then 13.21, 13.22, 13.30.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Now, the Lord is describing the field of activities and the knower of the field of activities in their constitutional position. One has to know how this body is constituted, the material of which this body is made, under whose control this body is working, how the changes are taking place, where from the changes are coming, what causes are, what the reasons are, what ultimate goal the individual soul is, and what the actual form of individual soul is. One who now see, okay, sorry, इसमें जो ऊपर जो यत था, that is not for the sarupa of the body, it is a sarupa of the soul. Okay, it was sarupa of the soul, means it was for the kshetragya, it was not for kshetra. So because it's mentioned here, who that knower of the field activity, कौन है जो ये knower of field है, and उसके influences क्या है. तो इसमें दो चीज है नोअर ऑफ फील्ड के लिए, यत प्रभाव भी आत्मा के लिए है और यत भी आत्मा के लिए, बाकी सब बॉडी के लिए। ठीक है, थोड़ा सा मिस्टेक हो गया। सो क्षेत्रम, क्षेत्रम के लिए चार चीज पूछा है और दो चीज पूछा है क्षेत्रज्ञ के लिए। क्षेत्रज्ञ, तो क्षेत्र के लिए कंपोजिशन, कैसा बॉडी का कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट्स क्या है, कैसा बना है बॉडी, क्वालिटीज क्या है, चेंजेस क्या है बॉडी में, ओरिजिन क्या है। और क्षेत्रज्ञ के लिए दो चीज पूछा है कि क्षेत्रज्ञ का स्वरूप क्या है या उसका एग्जिस्टेंस क्या है, और उसके इन्फ्लुएंसेस क्या है, कैसे उस शरीर को चलाता है, उसके कैसे इन्फ्लुएंस है आत्मा के, वो बताया। That's why Prabhupada is mentioning here. What is the actual form of Atma? One should know the distinction between the individual living soul and the super soul. They are different influences and their potential. One just has to understand this Bhagavad Gita directly from the description given by the Lord. But one should be careful not to consider the Lord in every body to be one with the supreme individual soul. Okay, so Lord is not equal to us. That we know that. This is something like equating the potent and the impotent. So we are impotent, we are always dependent on the Lord. But so we can never be equal to the Lord. Now Acharyas are giving some additional things here. Hear from me in brief of what the body consists of. Yacha, of the five gross elements, prana, the senses, and other things. What qualities it exhibits, yadrik, such as the desires and hatred. What are its transformations, yad vikari, into desirable and undesirable things. From what it arises, yataha, from combination of matter and the soul. By what it is distinguished, yat, by differences among various moving and non-moving bodies. Okay. Chalo. ऋषिभिर्बहुधा गीतम् छन्दोभिर्विविधैः पृथक् ब्रह्मसूत्रपदश्चैव हेतुमद्भिर्विनिश्चितैः।
That knowledge of the field of activities and the knower of the activities is described by various sages in various Vedic writings. It is especially presented in Vedanta Sutra with all reasoning as to cause and effect.
So not only in Bhagavad Gita, here we are discussing, Krishna is saying this knowledge of field of activity means the knowledge of body and the knowledge of the activities it described. So field of activities means the body and the knowledge and the knower of the activities, which is the Kshetragya. These are described in the various Vedic literatures. It is specially presented in Vedanta Sutra. Okay, cause and effect के रूप में. So Prabhupada is saying here, Vedas is the authority and he is mentioning in the Vedanta about these things. Aham tvam cha tathanye. We, you and I and the various other living entities all are transcendental, although in material bodies. We are all in material body, means Krishna is there in body, Jiva is there, and still we are in material body. Now we are fallen into the ways of the three modes of material nature according to the different karma. As such, some are on high level, some are in the lower level. Okay, done. The word Chandovi refers to the various Vedic literature. Taittiriya Upanishad, for example, which is a branch of Yajurveda, describes the nature, the living entity, and the Supreme Lord. As stated before, Kshetra is the field of activity, and there are two kinds of Kshetra, individual living entity and the supreme living entity. In the Taittiriya Upanishad, Brahma Pucham Pratishtha, there is a manifestation of the Supreme Lord's energy known as Annamaya, dependence upon food for existence. this is a materialistic realization of the Supreme. Then in the Pranamaya, after realizing the Supreme Absolute Truth in the food, one can realize the Absolute Truth in the living symptom or the life form. In the Jnanamaya, realization extends beyond the living symptom to the point of thinking, feeling, and willing. Then there is a Brahman realization called the Vijnanamaya, in which the, in which the living entities. Prabhu, can you read? Actually, I have trouble in reading. Can you read this?
Yes, Prabhuji. When there is Brahman realization called Vijnanamaya, in which the living entity's mind and life symptoms are distinguished from the living entity himself. The next and the supreme stage is Anandamaya, realization of the all blissful nature. Thus, there are five stages of Brahman realization which are called Brahma Pucham. Out of these, the first three, Annamaya, Pranamaya, and Jnanamaya, involve the fields of activities of the living entities. The transcendental to all these fields of activities is the Supreme Lord who is called Anandamaya. The Vedanta Sutra also described the Supreme by saying Anandamayo Bhyasat. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is by nature full of joy. To enjoy his transcendental bliss, he expands into Vijnanamay, Pranamay, Jnanamay, and Annamay. In the field of in the field of activities, the living entity is considered to be the enjoyer, and different from him is the Anandamay. That means that if the living entity decides to enjoy in doubting himself in the Anandamay, then he becomes perfect. That is the real picture of the Supreme Lord as the supreme knower of the field, the living entity as the subordinate knower, and the nature of the field of activities. One has to search for this truth in Vedanta Sutra or Brahma Sutra.
Okay. So therefore, we have heard this thing. The kosas, the five kosas. Annamaya kosh, pranamaya kosh. Then manomaya kosh, then vijnanmaya, then anandamaya. Five kosas. So that is called Brahma Pucham. Five stages of Brahma realization. We read in the previous purport, Bhokta, Bhogyam, Preritaram, Trividham Brahman, और तीन तरह के ब्रह्मन है, त्रिविधा ब्रह्मन. तीनों ब्रह्मन है, प्रकृति ब्रह्मन है, जीवात्मा ब्रह्मन है, और भगवान ब्रह्मन है, सुपर सोल ब्रह्मन, परमात्मा ब्रह्मन. ओके, सो ऑल ब्रह्मन. नाउ सुप्रीम लॉर्ड इज रियलाइज्ड इन आनंदमय स्टेज ओनली. When somebody in Suddha Sattva, then only he can realize the Supreme Lord. He cannot realize Supreme Lord in Annamaya stage or Pranamaya stage. No. But Brahman has taken to certain levels कि ब्रह्मन वहां तक भी समझा जा सकता है. अन्नमय, प्राण. देखो, अन्न ब्रह्मन बोला जाता है ना, अन्न ब्रह्मन. Like Anna, we should not waste Anna. We should respect because there is a Brahman. The Anna is also God. The God's presence is there. Pranamaya, you cannot kill anybody. You cannot unnecessarily kill anyone because in Pran also Brahman is there. God is there. Pranamaya, Manomaya. You cannot trouble other living entities. They are thinking, feeling, willing, mental activities, Manomaya. So then, Hinsa, we cannot do Hinsa or we cannot trouble living entities. Basically, these are the growing phases actually, where Brahman is more coming from gross to subtle, 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 and ultimately spiritual. Yes. Because the Jiva is present in the body, he is able to experience the Annamaya, then Pranamaya, then Manomaya, then Jnanamaya. Gyan or Vigyan, same only. And then Anandamaya stage. This is also called Brahman realization, Brahma Pucham, that is given in Taittiriya Upanishad. So we should not misunderstand these things. That what are these? These are basically, Jnanamaya means you understand about Atma, and Anandamaya means you understand about the Supreme Lord. And below that, the three one, Annamaya, Pranamaya, and Manomaya, these are all material. Okay. So this is a realization in material realm. We are growing in material realm. But when you have to come to spiritual realm, then you have to touch the Jnanmaya, and then finally, ultimately, the Supreme Lord, then Anandamaya is mentioned here. So the Supreme Lord expands in Vijnanamaya, Pranamaya, Jnanamaya, and Anandamaya. So in this way, living entity enjoys the field of activities, because he is able to enjoy the Brahman in different categories here. Like somebody is eating a lot, and then we can say he has a Brahman realization. What kind of a Brahman realization? Annamaya Brahman realization. Somebody is speculating a lot, we can say he is also Brahman realized because he's Manomaya. Manomaya realizations. It is mentioned here. Acha, these things, Panchakos, there are many training also. Kosha also is understood in other ways. Kosha means the covering. So the development of this development of gross to subtle, it happens when living entity is taken through samskaras. The proper sanskaras are taken through when living entity is he is born in this world, and then he's taken through proper sanskara. Then what happens? This kosas also opens actually. Means he goes to the further level. Like sometimes you find some children are there, they're growing, but their mental growth is not proper. Means they're not mentally grown, but they're physically grown. Sometimes if children play a lot only video game, so then their pranamaya course is not developed. Pranamaya course means development means what? They will not relish the Brahman, this aspect of Brahman, the enjoyment in prana, because they are not exercising their bodies properly. They are just playing video games at home. In the similar, if people are only eating the fast food, only such thing, then Annamaya Kosh will not again be relished. Means the pure food has to be there, to realize the taste of Brahman in Anna. So these all things are important for the growth also. Annamaya Kosh, Pranamaya Kosh, Vigyan Kosh, Mano means a relationship. The child or anyone who is growing, he should also have a proper mental care, proper physical care, proper recreation, has to be there for all these things. So all these development happens. He can experience Annamaya, Pranamaya, Jnanamaya, all these things. And that is why the earlier the Gurukulas, the training were fitting all this to develop these kosas properly. Otherwise, like nowadays, children are more emotionally unstable. The reason is what? Emotionally unstable. And they're very weak also. So their pranamaya and manomaya is not very much growing. And now annamaya is also worst only. Annamaya भी नहीं है उनको. अन्न का भी उनको टेस्ट नहीं, क्योंकि टेस्ट है ही नहीं आजकल चीजों में. सब आर्टिफिशियल टेस्ट डाला जा रहा है, हर एक को इंजेक्शन मार के उसमें, तो वो भी खत्म हो रहा है धीरे धीरे. And that is the Prabhupada writes in one purport, because of a scarcity of food or scarcity of things in this age of Kali, people will have lower lifespan or smaller lifespan. Why? Because there is no necessities only. How they will live now? कैसे जिएंगे लोग? नेसेसिटीज ही चला गया है, खत्म, उनकी नेसेसिटीज अवेलेबल नहीं है. तो फिर जीने का मतलब ही क्या? हाउ दे विल लिव? These things are there. So the growth is also given here. Annamaya, Pranamaya, Jnanmaya, Manomaya, and then Jnanmaya, all this. And the different activities are there to grow these different koshas in the children. And especially the samskara are also very important. Samskar and the different activities. महाभूतानि अहंकारो बुद्धिर अव्यक्तमेव च इंद्रियाणि दशैकं च पंच च इंद्रिय गोचरा इच्छा द्वेष सुखम दुखम संघातश्चेतना धृतिः एतत् क्षेत्रं समासेन सविकारम् उदाहृतम्.
The five great elements false ego, intelligence, the unmanifested, the ten senses, and the mind, the five sense objects desire, hatred, happiness, distress, the aggregate, the life symptoms, and convictions. All these are considered in summary to be the field of activities and its interactions.
Now Krishna is not only telling that the field of activity was only the body. Now, what are the bodily interactions? That also has to be understood. That is also originating from the interact, because soul is inside the body, and whatever interaction he has with the body, there will be something extra than the dead. And so we are not dead, but body is dead, and the interaction between us and the body is also dead and alive, both. How? Because the enjoyer is the soul, but the experience which he is getting is false. Means it's a temporary. Not we say false, it's a temporary. So soul is getting a temporary experience. So the person who is getting experience is a true person, is an eternal person, but the experience he is getting is a temporary. So then, because of the mixture of dead and live, this kind of interaction will be there. Then the live object, eternal object, will experience something which is temporary. Okay. If there was only two things, dead and live, then there was not much confusion. But when the live object starts experiencing the dead in his life, and he starts taking that dead experience to be permanent, or hoping for more and more, and started dwelling his all his taste and consciousness in that, then the different dimension only opens of life. That is what Krishna is mentioning here, that the five great element, false ego, intelligence, the unmanifested, the 10 senses, and the mind, the five sense objects, the desire, hatred, happiness, distress, the aggregate, the life symptom, and the conviction, all these are considered in summary to be the field of activity and instructions. Just see, everything is mentioned to be field of activity and its interactions. From the authoritative statements of the great sages, the Vedic hymns, and the aphorism of the Vedanta Sutra, the components of this world can be understood as follows. First, there are earth, water, fire, air, ether. These are the five great element, Mahabhuta. Then there are false ego, intelligence, the unmanifested stage of the three modes of nature. Then there are the five senses for acquiring knowledge, the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin. Then the five working senses, voice, legs, hands, anus, genitals. Then above the senses is the mind, and within which is within, and which can be called sense within. Therefore, including the mind, there are 11 senses altogether. Then there are five objects of the senses: smell, taste, form, touch, and sound. Now the aggregate of these 24 elements is called the field of activities. If one makes an analytical study of these 24 subjects, then he can very well understand the field of activity. Then there are the desires, hatred, happiness, and distress, which are interactions, representations of the five great element in the gross body. The living symptoms represented by the consciousness and convictions are the manifestation of subtle body, mind, ego, and intelligence. These subtle elements are included in the field of activity. So what is the field of activities mentioned? So the field of activity, gross and subtle both. Okay. So we have two kind of body. One is gross body, other is subtle body. Gross body, mind, ego, intelligence. Subtle, that is subtle body, and gross body means five elements. And then with those five elements, other things have also been there to make the connection. Like we have the senses, and we have sense object. Yes, so we have sense object. So sense object like this smell, taste, tan matras, smell, taste, form, touch, and sound. And then senses like our eyes, ear, nose, tongue, skin. These are the knowledge acquiring, and then 5 working senses: voice, leg, hand, anus, genitals. So the senses are 10, sense object are 5, then 3 subtle, mind, intelligence, ego. All these 24 elements, including we should also understand in previous chapter we have discussed that the pradhana, the unmanifested nature, is also considered in 24 element. So all these are called 24 element are called field of activities. And then apart from the field of activities, there are interaction of field of activities which includes these things. What are those? Desire, hatred, you mentioned na? Desire, hatred, happiness, distress. These are the interactions of field of activities with the soul. जो भी soul के साथ इसका interaction होता है तो ये सब ये निकलता है. Even the living symptoms, the chitta, the represented by the consciousness and the conviction are manifestation of subtle body. Just see, even living symptoms are also mentioned as a subtle here. Because there is called chitta and chitta. Chitta means it belongs to soul, and chitta means the reflection or the projection of the soul's consciousness on the subtle body is called chitta. So whatever the subtle body is able to think and feel with the material identity that I am this body or whatever, that is chitta. And that is what making us feel that we are alive. We are not feeling ourselves. हम अपने आत्मा को नहीं फील कर पा रहे. हम जो फील कर रहे हैं अपने मटेरियल आइडेंटिटी को फील कर रहे हैं. आज जो भी हम फीलिंग कर रहे हैं वर्ल्ड में या अंदर बाहर, दैट इज आवर मटेरियल आइडेंटिटी. So that is called chitta. When you feel your own identity, that is called chitta. But you are not able to feel that because हम लोग अभी जागे नहीं है. सोया हुआ व्यक्ति को क्या पता है वो कौन है. जब आत्मा जाग जाएगा, खुद के मन से सोचेगा, खुद के दिमाग से सोचेगा, तो समझ में आएगा कि वो आत्मा है. अभी दूसरे के मन को लेके बैठा है, वो दूसरे के इंटेलिजेंस को लेके बैठा है, और दूसरा वाला इतना हावी हो गया है या आत्मा उससे इतना अटैच हो चुका है कि वो अपने को भूल चुका है. तो अनलेस वी आर अवेकेड वी कैनॉट नो आवरसेल्फ. So then it is mentioned here, the 5 great elements. The 5 great elements are gross representation of the false ego. Okay, this when Prabhupada says, then comes the false ego. This is not Prabhupada is telling the growth, or you can say the birth of these elements happens like that. No, उसके हिसाब से नहीं बोल रहे हैं प्रभुपाद जस्ट बोल रहे हैं कि ये चीजें हैं ग्रॉस में और ये चीजें सटल में, और इन सबको मिला के 24 एलिमेंट्स बनते हैं. और इन 24 एलिमेंट्स के साथ भी कुछ इंटरेक्शन होता है जिसमें डिजायर, हेटरेड, हैप्पीनेस, डिस्ट्रेस होते हैं, वो इंटरेक्शंस कहलाते हैं. ठीक है. The 5 great elements are the gross representation of false ego, which in turn represent the primal stage of false ego, technically called materialistic conception, tamas buddhi, intelligence and ignorance. This further represents the unmanifested stage of 3 modes of material nature. The unmanifested modes of material nature is called pradhana. This pradhana comes in 24 element. This also comes in 24 element. See, what is tamas buddhi? The 5 great elements are the gross representation. When false ego, it further transforms into, so we have discussed earlier, pradhana transforms into prakriti, prakriti transforms into mahatattva, mahatattva. When the lot of ignorance increases in the mahatattva, then that becomes the ahankara. Ahankara later transforms into the 3 sections. Ahankara reacts with the mode of goodness, then what is formed is mind. Ahankara reacts with mode of passion, what is formed is intelligence. Ahankara reacts with mode of ignorance, forms all these 5 gross elements. So that is what Prabhupada mentions, the tamas buddhi. When false ego interacts with the mode of ignorance, so then, or reacts or interacts, whatever we say, then these 5 gross elements are formed. Intelligence is formed when false ego reacts with mode of passion. Mind is formed when false ego reacts with mode of goodness. It means mind is generally mind. You may think that mind is superior, but in Bhagavad Gita, mind is considered inferior to intelligence. In third chapter, it is mentioned that superior to mind is intelligence. But when you see the formation of mind, the goodness is there, and formation of intelligence, passion is there. So intelligence means like an intelligent man should absorb his mind somewhere. It is very, very important. Therefore, Krishna mentions that even in second chapter. Who is a Sthita Pragya? Whose mind is resting in Supreme and his senses is controlled. Like he says, na, Tani Sarvani Samyamya Yukta Asit Mat Paraha. युक्त आसीत, युक्त है आसीत मत पर, उसकी चेतना मुझ में आसीत बैठ चुकी है और उसके सेंसेस कंट्रोल है, देन ही इज कॉल्ड स्थित प्रज्ञा, देन हिज इंटेलिजेंस विल बी फिक्स. Intelligence is used for discriminating what is what is right, what is wrong. But mind, when it finds its object, चाहे वो lower object हो चाहे higher object हो, mind वहीं पे फंस जाता है. It becomes आवेश. So therefore, unless mind is situated in Supreme Lord, unless mind is situated, we cannot fix our intelligence. We may try to fix our intelligence by thinking, oh, Lord is like that. But ultimately, you have to fix your mind in the Lord somewhere. Savai Manaha Krishna Padaravindayor. Unless the mind is fixed on lotus feet of the Lord, intelligence will be wavering. So therefore, mind, even though it is coming in the lower, but ultimately the mind has to be fixed. Intelligence can discriminate, but mind is so powerful. If mind is attached to something, it can take away the intelligence anywhere. But if mind is fixed somewhere and intelligence is also convinced, then person cannot be distracted. So both are important. But the rasa comes in the when the mind is like sometimes people are feeling like chanting holy name. They're chanting, they're not finding any rasa. But mind intelligence is saying, oh, this is a holy name, not different from the Lord. But unless you feel that holy name in your mind, unless you feel that connection, that absorption, you will not appreciate that philosophy more. So therefore, mind is in goodness. So mind settles in goodness. Mind goodness में शांत हो जाएगा, एकदम शांत, वहीं पे सरेंडर कर देगा. इसलिए मन को हम पढ़ाई थोड़ा कर सकते हैं, लेकिन जब करते समय हालत खराब हो जाता है, क्योंकि जब करते समय माइंड एक्टिव रहता है और पढ़ाई करते समय इंटेलिजेंस थोड़ा एक्टिव रहता है. पढ़ाई भी आदमी कर सकता है, जब करने में हालत खराब होता है. क्यों? क्योंकि माइंड अगर फिक्स है तो फिर क्या है? मय्येव मन आदस्व, देयर आल्सो वी अंडरस्टूड मयि बुद्धि निवेशय. द सेकंड कम्स इंटेलिजेंस. मय्येव मन आदस्व, पहले मन को लगाओ. मयि बुद्धि निवेशय, निवेशस्य मय्येव अथ ऊर्ध्वं न संशय. दिस इज हाईएस्ट भाव भक्ति. Yes, Prabhu.
So that we can sharpen the mind by sharpen intelligence by reading Shastras.
Yes.
Yeah, so that is the way to give a good feed to intelligence and stabilizing the intelligence. How mind will be done? Will it be through the five senses, engaging them properly, or well, one has to think about Krishna, right? The mind.
Mind is like a child.
Hmm.
Mind is always considered like a child. Okay. So mind can never be trusted. This is one thing. Yes, mind can never be trusted. बट माइंड का कंपोजिशन जो हुआ है मटेरियल माइंड का, वो गुडनेस से हुआ है. इसका मतलब क्या है? इसका मतलब ये है कि अगर माइंड कैसा है, ज्यादा सोचता है, जैसे लाइक एग्जांपल है, इट्स आल्सो गिवन लाइक वुमेन. इन अ वुमेन द थॉट ऑफ रिलीजियसिटी, that they become religious very immediately they become religious, like any religious function is there, women are more, because their mind is more active than intelligence. They are more emotional than rational, so they can immediately surrender. वो ज्यादा सोचते नहीं है. कर देंगे सरेंडर, भगवान है चलो हाथ जोड़ो, हाँ, प्रदक्षिणा लगाओ। किसी भी लेक्चर्स में आप कोई भी स्पिरिचुअल लेक्चर करेंगे तो बिगनिंग में द नंबर ऑफ वुमेन विल बी मोर देन द मैन। मैन का दिमाग कहाँ घूमता है पता नहीं, उसको बुद्धि तो है नहीं वैसे भी, और मन भी नहीं है उसका, तो इसलिए वो घूमता रहता है। सो सो माइंड इज देयर वहां पे। सो माइंड डज नॉट थिंक, माइंड जस्ट, आप देखो कोई आदमी वीडियो गेम खेल रहा है, वो कुछ सोचेगा ही नहीं, वहीं पे वो खेलता ही रहेगा, खेलता ही रहेगा, खेलता ही, जस्ट उसको मजा आ रहा है, उसका मन वहीं पे फंस गया है। वो ये नहीं सोचेगा मेरा टाइम वेस्ट हो गया, मेरे को कहीं जाना है, कुछ खरीदना है, अरे भूल जाता है, मतलब माइंड हावी हो जाता है उसके ऊपर। बिकॉज माइंड का क्या है नेचर है, एब्जॉर्ब, कहीं पे जाके फंस जाना, एब्जॉर्ब हो जाना। जैसे बच्चे होते हैं ना, कुछ भी छोटी मोटी चीज खेलेंगे वहीं पे फंस जाएंगे, उनको उठाने के लिए कोई बड़ा आदमी चाहिए, चलो उठ, अभी जाके खेल, अभी हाथ पैर धो थोड़ा वो कर, बच्चे। सो एब्जॉर्प्शन इज अ क्वालिटी ऑफ माइंड। इंटेलिजेंस क्वालिटी इज टू डिस्क्रिमिनेट वेयर टू टेक द माइंड, कहाँ लेके जाना है, कहाँ पे एब्जॉर्ब करना है, वो इंटेलिजेंस का काम है। लेकिन अल्टीमेटली हमें एब्जॉर्ब होना है, स्पिरिचुअल लाइफ में हमें एब्जॉर्ब होना है, वी हैव टू एब्जॉर्ब। So we have to absorb in the Leela of the Lord, Katha of the Lord. So that at that time mind is required. And intelligence is required to hear the everything. But जब हम सुनते रहते कथा, तो माइंड एब्जॉर्ब होता है, वहां से हिलने का मन नहीं करता है। Let us hear the katha more and more, more and more. That time intelligence function slowly उतना डिस्क्रिमिनेट नहीं करता, बस सुनता रहता है, उसको अच्छा लगता है, सुनता रहता है, सुनता रहता है। So therefore, Savai Mana Krishna Padaravindu. So one who, where the mind has to be fixed in the lotus feet of the Lord. हरि चरण अस्त्र, हरि के चरण में मन को लगाना चाहिए, भगवान के। तो मन किससे आइडेंटिटी करता है वैसे? माइंड, इट इज सेड, इट इज माइंड इज द वाइफ ऑफ फॉल्स ईगो। So false ego has identity that I am this body. So mind, like a wife, protects the identity of the husband, or you can say the, like when Shiva was uh, told by Chitraketu Maharaj, that Lord Shiva, how he can sit in assembly of so many sages and putting his wife on his lap and giving the lecture on the renunciation. So then wife was thinking, oh, you are speaking about my husband? How can I speak about my husband? Then she became very angry and she cursed Chitraketu Maharaj. In a similar way, the wife is like a mind, and false ego, he has certain identity. Then mind, जब भी कोई false ego को ठेस पहुंचती है ना, मन सामने आ जाता है, तुमने मेरे को ऐसा कहा, अब मैं दिखाता हूं तुमको। तो वो मन में ले लेता है उस बात को। क्यों? क्योंकि वो फॉल्स ईगो को ठेस पहुंच गया ना, तो मन को बुरा लगता है। दिस गुरजन प्रभु राइट्स इन आर्ट ऑफ, ये उनका जो बुक है जपा, सो ही राइट्स दैट माइंड वर्क्स लाइक अ वाइफ, ही जस्ट प्रोटेक्ट द फॉल्स ईगो। तो फॉल्स ईगो हमेशा मन को सामने खड़ा करके रखता है, जब भी ठेस पहुंचता है ईगो पे, मन ले लेता है उसको एकदम, और मन उसको लेके फिर बदला लेने को चाहता है। फिर इंटेलिजेंस भी कुछ कर नहीं सकता, मतलब बहुत समझाने के बाद भी व्यक्ति समझता नहीं है, क्योंकि मन पे चढ़ी गई उसकी बात, और फॉल्स ईगो को ठेस पहुंचा है। सो इन दिस वे false ego has to be removed and Krishna's सेवक आइडेंटिटी हैज टू पुट, कि मैं कृष्णदास हूं। तो अब उस आइडेंटिटी को लेके मन उसको बचाए कि मैं कृष्ण का दास। जैसे प्रभुपाद जी हमेशा अपने को कृष्णदास समझते थे, कुछ भी हो, चाहे कोई बड़ा आदमी है, छोटा आदमी, हमेशा वो अपने को, ही विल ऑलवेज कंसीडर आई एम कृष्णा सर्वेंट, ही विल चेस्टाइज एनीवन, ही विल सर्व एनीवन, बट ऑल विद आइडेंटिटी दैट आई एम कृष्णदास। सवाई मना कृष्ण पदारविंद। सो वन हु हैज दिस आइडेंटिटी कि मैं कृष्ण का दास हूं, हिज माइंड इज फिक्स्ड अप, हिज माइंड इज फिक्स्ड अप। So in this way, our relationship has to be established with the Lord more and more by hearing tattvas, by serving the Lord. So then our mind starts becoming more and more convinced and fixed up. Both convinced भी होता रहता है मन, फिर फिक्स हो जाता है। तो हमें भक्ति ही करना है, बट कहने का मतलब है कि हमें अपना रिलेशनशिप बढ़ाना है भगवान के साथ। इसलिए भगवान बोलते हैं गीता में, अभ्यास योगे न ततो माम इच्छाप्तुम धनंजय, भक्ति करते करते मुझे प्राप्त करने की इच्छा रखो। ये इसको बोलते हैं रेगुलेटेड डिवोशनल सर्विस। मीन्स नॉट ओनली डूइंग रेगुलेटेड भक्ति 16 माला, बट कृष्ण को प्राप्त करने की इच्छा। मतलब ये मन पे चढ़ता है कि कृष्ण मेरे हैं, मैं उनका हूँ, मेरे को उनकी सेवा करनी है, मेरे को उनको प्रसन्न करना है। ये मन में चढ़ना चाहिए व्यक्ति को। इंटेलिजेंस तो बोलेगा कि शास्त्र में बोला ये है, बट आप उसको रिलीज कैसे करोगे? मन से करो। will relish with your mind, and slowly will relish with our transcendental mind, slowly. So mind is more governed by emotions, more governed by relationship, identity. These are the things. So when we make these things spiritual more and more, mind becomes attached to those things. Like that. And intelligence become more attached to the scriptures, tattva, discrimination, these things. Like that. But always we should understand that mind should not be free. Mind should always be guided by intelligence, because mind can never be trusted. Anytime mind may take any, you can say, disadvantage of any, he can take the undue advantage of something. It may take. So therefore mind has to be controlled always. It has to be trained properly. Okay, we'll go ahead. Just see here mentioned by Acharya. In this verse, the nature of field is described. Mahabhutani refers to ether, air, fire, water, and earth. Ahankara refers to false ego, the cause of Mahabhutas. So Ahankara is the cause of 5 gross element. When Ahankara reacts with the mode of ignorance, it forms the 5 gross element. Buddhi refers to Mahatattva, composed of Vijnana, the cause of the Ahankara. Before Ahankara comes Mahatattva. So first comes Pradhan, where nature has not manifested. It's all in equilibrium. Unmanifested nature is called Pradhan. Then comes Prakriti, where Lord has glanced. जब भगवान ने अपना कटाक्ष डाल दिया है उसके प्रधान के ऊपर, तो उसमें कुछ चेंजेस चालू हो जाते हैं, उसको बोलते हैं प्रकृति. And then comes Mahatattva. Mahatattva means now delivery will happen. Now the object, whatever is there in the 3 modes, the 3 modes have become totally agitated. Living entity is already there. His Svabhava and Karma both are there. Now the matter will now transform into something to provide some facility for living entity to enjoy, because living entity is there, and the Lord has put his कटाक्ष. कटाक्ष में 2 चीज को डाला भगवान ने, लिविंग एंटिटी को भी डाला है और काल को भी डाला है. तो काल ने 3 गुणों को इतना एजिटेट कर दिया है और लिविंग एंटिटी की इच्छा एंजॉय करने की है. तो अब मोड ऑफ इग्नोरेंस उस महत्त्व में इतना बढ़ गया है, तो वो फॉल्स ईगो करके निकलता है. 3 तरह के अहंकार होते हैं, राजसिक अहंकार, सात्विक और तामसिक. ये जो अहंकार की बात हो रही है, तामसिक की बात हो रही है. तो तामसिक अहंकार से ही क्रिएशन होता है. ये जितने भी हमारे सेंसेस हैं, मन है, बुद्धि है, देवता है, सेंस देवता, ये सभी तामसिक अहंकार से ही आते हैं. So we should understand this thing. तो why the तामसिक अहंकार? महतत्व इज मोस्टली गुडनेस ओनली. महतत्व मतलब गुडनेस होता है पूरा. जो तीनों गुणों में गुडनेस बहुत, लेकिन जब लिविंग एंटिटी का डिजायर होता है कि मुझे शरीर चाहिए, एंजॉय करना है, दे दो दे दो दे दो दे दो, तो फिर वो वहां पे तामस का जन्म होता है, और वो तामस पूरे महतत्व को कवर करके फिर वो अहंकार को पैदा करता है, तामसिक अहंकार. और वो तामसिक अहंकार फिर 3 गुणों के साथ दोबारा रिएक्ट करके अलग अलग ऑब्जेक्ट को बनाता है. दिस इज गिवन इन 3rd canto. So now buddhi refers to Mahatattva. Sometimes buddhi is also called Mahatattva. Now this buddhi is not that buddhi which is created after after false ego reacts with the passion and creates a buddhi. That is different buddhi is mentioned here. The buddhi refers to Mahatattva, composed of Vijnana, the cause of Ahankara. So Mahatattva से अहंकार आता है, और यहाँ पे महतत्व को बुद्धि बोला गया है, which is a Vijnana, which is more pure buddhi, you can say. The tamas buddhi, tamas ahankar buddhi, that is more polluted buddhi, which is we all have. And the earlier buddhi which is mentioned here, Vijnana, which is pure buddhi. Indriyani refers to the 10 senses: ear, eyes, ear, nose, skin, touch, hands, feet, genitals, anus, and voice. Eka refers to the mind. The 5 indriya gochara are the sense objects. So indriya, indriyartham, indriya artha. The indriya artha, sense object के बहुत नामों से जाने जाते हैं. Sense objects are called indriya artha, indriya gochara, and also tanmatras. Tanmatras also word called for sense object. The field is made of 24 elements. So this we have already counted 24 elements. पहले किया है. Sangat is the body evolving from the 24 element. Ichha, Dvesh, Sukha and Dukh are well known. Chetana is a mental function constituted of knowledge. Dhriti is a perseverance. Ichha and other qualities mentioned in this verse are the qualities of the mind and not the soul. And thus they are included in the field. This does not mean, however, the soul does not have a quality such as the perseverance. These are representation of Sankalpa and other qualities mentioned in the Shruti, not being an exhaustive list of the qualities of the mind. The soul's qualities are reflected in the subtle body, and so these things are mentioned to be constituents of field of activities. Ichha, Dhriti, ये सब बोला गया है. आत्मा का भी इच्छा होता है, ऐसे नहीं कि यहाँ पे जो इच्छा बोला गया इसका ही. तो आचार्य बता रहे कि ये इच्छा इसका बोला गया. किसका? मटीरियल डिजायर. Now somebody can say, but this material desire is not us. Okay, very nice. Yeah. So that is why it is very clearly mentioned. The soul cannot become material at any time. Whatever material desire soul has, that is ultimately taken to be material only. That has nothing to do with the soul. सोल के कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में कोई चेंज नहीं हो सकता. ऐसा नहीं कि सोल के कहीं कोने में मटेरियल डिजायर बैठा हुआ. नो, द डिजायर ऑफ द सोल व्हेन इट इज रिफ्लेक्टेड ऑन द ग्रॉस subtle body, there you can find that ichha. But when soul becomes awakened with the knowledge, with his own knowledge, then he can immediately see that मन में जो इच्छा थे वो मेरे नहीं है, वो मैंने पहले से बना के रखे थे, वो अभी पड़े हुए हैं. इच्छा, मेरे जो कर्म है सब पड़े हुए हैं कुछ पहले के. तो you can easily see the difference between his इच्छा and this material इच्छा. But right now he is totally sleeping, not knowing only anything, covered by ignorance. So he cannot know that his इच्छा and मन की इच्छा समझ नहीं पाएगा वो ऐसा. So he has to get awakened, the soul has to get awakened. Then only he can identify the difference between his desire and the desire of the mind. Now from here onwards, now these 20 element of knowledge Prabhupada mentions later, or he in the purport only mentions, these are the ways to come out of this field of activities. अभी पूछने का मतलब क्या है? किसी ने पूछा कि भगवान क्षेत्र क्या है, क्षेत्र की क्या है? ये केवल आजकल के नॉलेज में क्या है, बस नॉलेज ले लो और फिर उसका नॉलेज को टेक्नोलॉजी बना दो और फिर टेक्नोलॉजी बना के एंजॉय करो, बस यही है फंक्शन सबका. नॉलेज गेन करना किस लिए? टेक्नोलॉजी बनाने की. टेक्नोलॉजी किस लिए बनाना है? सब चीज सेंस ग्रेटिफिकेशन करने के लिए, बस यही इन लोगों का काम है. बस knowledge gain karo so that you can make the material nature subservient to yourself. You can exploit material nature and enjoy the world. That is the whole course of their progress. Yes, all materialistic. And that is why these materialistic people will never come to know about God by any amount of their advancement of material knowledge, because their process is only wrong. They do not want to come out of the world. They are thinking to make this world as a better place. Now here, these 20 items of knowledge, even though they are basically interaction with the 20 elements, but Prabhupada says by this interaction you can come out of this field of activities. Jaise amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa, shanti, arjun. So all these qualities, these are the qualities which appears to be in this world. Jaise koi amanitvam hai, means not humility. Then adambitvam, pridelessness, ahimsa. So we may think that, but these are also, I am dealing with the field of activity only, with all this quality also. But here it is mentioned, we can just read those things. The process of knowledge is sometimes misunderstood by less intelligent man as being the interaction of the field of activity. The process of knowledge is sometimes misunderstood by less intelligent man as being the interaction of field of activity. Like we just now read, what are the interaction of field of activities? Ichha, dvesh, sukh, dukh. यही तो है फील्ड ऑफ एक्टिविटीज का इंटरेक्शन। बॉडी के साथ आपका क्या इंटरेक्शन हो रहा है, संसार के साथ क्या इंटरेक्शन, दैट इज द फील्ड ऑफ इंटरेक्शन। ओके, इंटरेक्शन ऑफ फील्ड ऑफ एक्टिविटी। ओके, देन समटाइम पीपल अंडरस्टैंड नॉलेज आल्सो लाइक दैट ओनली, like somebody is saying something, some insulting word, then I become humble. So because he produced certain kind of uneasiness in my mind, so I became humble. So even my humility is also product of, or you can say reaction of interaction done through the field of activity, body. मेरे शरीर को कुछ बोल दिया, मेरे को बोल दिया तो मेरे को बुरा लग रहा, तो मैं हम्बल हो गया। So here Prabhupada says the process of knowledge also sometime, and what is the process of knowledge? This is the process of knowledge. Ahimsa, Santi, all this, Amanitvam, Adamvitam. So are they also interaction of field of activities? No. But actually this is the real process of knowledge. If one accepts this process, then the possibility of approaching the absolute truth exists. This is not the interaction of the 24 elements as described before. तो ये ध्यान से समझना है। यानी ये जो ज्ञान के बारे में भगवान बता रहे हैं, तो 20 एलिमेंट ऑफ नॉलेज, दिस इज नॉट द इंटरेक्शन ऑफ फील्ड ऑफ एक्टिविटी, बट दीज आर समथिंग टू गेट आउट ऑफ दिस 24 एलिमेंट्स। और प्रपात बोले दीज आर द रियल नॉलेज। तो इस देखो कितना सटल चीज है, इसको समझ पाना है ना। कोई लोग बोल सकते हैं ना, तो कोई बोलेगा कि ओके देन कैन यू से दैट इज द रियल ह्यूमिलिटी। So therefore, the real humility or the real hinsa, ahimsa, everything, that is real process of knowledge means what? Unless somebody is in knowledge, how can he show such qualities? So these qualities must belong to the soul. Otherwise, then they are also product of material nature. Correct? So आत्मा में जो ज्ञान है वो सही ज्ञान है, और वो ज्ञान अगर हमें बाहर से दिया जा रहा है गुरु के द्वारा, स्क्रिप्चर्स के द्वारा, तो हमें उस ज्ञान को लेना है और अपने ज्ञान को जगाना है। फायर इज यूज्ड टू किंडल द फायर इन द वुड, बट देयर इज ऑलरेडी फायर इन द वुड। पहले से ही लकड़ी में फायर है, लेकिन उसके फायर को जलाने के लिए क्या चाहिए? बाहर से फायर चाहिए। तो इसलिए ये प्रोसेस ऑफ नॉलेज से हमारा ज्ञान जगना चाहिए, हमारा खुद का क्वालिटी निकलना चाहिए। But this knowledge is not contaminated, and so that these 20 elements of knowledge will read next time. Any question? Tomorrow we'll read.
I joined late, but just want to ask about that question number 1 of OBA.
क्या क्वेश्चन?
OBA का डिस्कस आप वीडियो भेजने वाले थे।
Oh, one question.
One question.
What you can do, you can write question 2 से solve कर दो। क्वेश्चन 2 पहले solve कर दो, क्वेश्चन 1 बाद में solve करो। Question, then you have to write a question and write an answer. Don't simply write question 2. Question 2 पूरा लिख और उसको आंसर लिख। And question 1 I will send today करके भेज। ओके, शिला प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्ण। Tomorrow also 11:30 to 1:30 class.
तो इसका श्लोका शीट भी शेयर ना?
हाँ, श्लोका भेजता हूँ। यस, आई विल सेंड। शिला प्रभुपाद की जय।